And when I win Money in the Bank, if I so choose, John Cena, I've always had your number. I'm gonna come and pick the bones, you little bitch.
This episode of Raw opened with CM Punk talking about his aspirations of winning Money in the Bank for a third time, along with him not minding if it's Jey Uso he cashes in on or John Cena. Stephanie Vaquer is also officially a part of the Raw roster, and we'll see her incredible arrival later in the show. Speaking of the women's division, Valhalla, formerly known as Sarah Logan, was released by WWE yesterday. She took to Instagram to say this: "Dear Wrestling, I come to you with tears in my eyes cause our time has come to a sudden end. WWE informed me yesterday that they are letting my contract expire. Can I be so honest with you guys? I didn't know she was still employed." Listen, all the best, Sarah. I was a Riot Squad guy, but I didn't know you were still in the WWE, actually. I'm sorry. And after this episode went off the air, there were also chants for the recently released R-Truth.
Let the record state that I said, how dare you chant for somebody that's not here. Think about it, you'll get it on your way home. Play the champ's music.
But Sami Zayn would interrupt CM Punk and stress the importance of him needing to win Money in the Bank. He says it may not be in the cards for him this year, but him and Jey will deal with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker.
If Seth Rollins wins that briefcase, if he wins the contract, this place, it's over. It turns into something very different. It turns into something unrecognizable. It's going to turn into something that you and I will not like.
I kind of love how they're treating Seth Rollins like Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones. Sami continues in saying, "We need you to win tonight, and for what it's worth, I want you to win tonight." But he also wants Punk to know if he does win the World Championship, he'll be face to face with Sami Zayn having a very different conversation than the one they're having right now. Punk says, "I look forward to it." But next we see a backstage segment with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez, where Roxanne tries to offer her help again.
You want to help me? Stand in my way. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Then Liv runs into Io Sky.
I'm going to be two-time Money in the Bank winner and cash in to win back the Women's World Championship. Not gonna happen.
Then we see a fantastic hype package defined by domination for Stephanie Vaquer before the triple threat, where she discusses her accomplishments, including being the first ever South American double champ in Mexico and the first ever NXT women's double champion. As Stephanie made her entrance, she received a great ovation and her attire was absolutely fire.
Not bad.
I'm signing a petition to call in Booker T via Discord for Stephanie Vaquer Devil's Kiss spots.
Hey!
There's a great sequence in this match where Liv is dominating and then Ivy Nile shows her inner pit bull.
And now, Ivy Nile drives Lynn into the corner. And now the pit bull from American Made. Stephanie Vaquer with a meteor.
Taking advantage like right here with Ivy
And now
Nile.
Nile.
Ivy Nile, someday soon you will get your flowers and all of American Made will be holding gold. Amen. And she damn near won the match with this near fall.
Power here. Dangerous situation. Backing up Vaquer for the win. Kick out.
But eventually, Stephanie Vaquer is heading to Money in the Bank.
Stephanie Vaquer now looking to put her away with the SVB. Qualifies for Money in the Bank.
The field is complete. Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vaquer. And honestly, I can see a scenario with any of these women picking up the win. Even the already decorated Rhea Ripley and then going on to cash in on Io Sky, it wouldn't be my #1 choice, but they've teased those two having unfinished business. Granted, you do that and then you risk turning people on Rhea, but how about Naomi? She's a dark horse given what they're building over on SmackDown. A woman in Naomi who for me is doing career work right now, both in ring and especially as her Proceed with Caution character. I think Roxanne holding it and the Judgment Day suddenly wanting her to be in the group, using her to go after Io Sky would be very interesting too. Alexa Bliss's comeback could be sealed in an interesting way if she were to win and cash in on Tiffany Stratton, perhaps using the Wyatt Six to aid her. Or how about this? The match ultimately comes down to the two next big things on Raw and SmackDown, Julia Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. We see a final showdown amongst the ladders, but ultimately Stephanie Vaquer wins and cashes in ahead of time on Io Sky for SummerSlam Night 1's main event. I think that's a valid scenario, and then you have Julia become Women's US Champion, which they've already teased with Zelina Vega on SmackDown. But let me know, who do you think is going to win Money in the Bank? Then there's a backstage segment with Paul Heyman and AJ Styles where Paul tries to talk AJ out of Money in the Bank because Money in the Bank belongs to Seth freaking Rollins. He says you should go after Dominic Mysterio and the IC title instead.
Concentrate on Dominic Mysterio and the Intercontinental title and leave Money in the Bank to Seth freaking Rollins.
Styles says, I've known you long enough to know that was a threat, so be careful because you know I like to push back.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Then we see a Rusev promo where he says Sheamus left him to Vanquish after the League of Nations many years ago. I also love how this shot right here was cropped so there was no Alberto Del Rio in it. Great call, editing team.
Do not mistake the man that I was for the force that I am, Sheamus. I am the son of thunder and you are the weak one now.
Rusev also says, you're a true legend, Sheamus. It would be my honor to send you down.
But remember this, brother. I went down because you stabbed my back. Now stay out of the way or you're gonna go out because I'm gonna snap yours.
Then we see Sheamus willing on the Alpha Academy and Natalya.
I really appreciate that. Actually, Maxine has impressed me a lot lately.
Get on it. It's done great. Cheers, fella.
Happy, joy, joy.
I hope they continue the momentum for Rusev and eventually have him in the world title scene on Raw.
I bully bullies.
I've previously raised my concerns around the fact I feel as if Rusev and Aleister Black have returned to the same spot they were in before they left WWE, but for me it's all about this summer. That is the key. Where does Aleister Black go after this seemingly brewing LA Knight feud? Where does Rusev go after reigniting things with Sheamus? Do they fall into obscurity sitting on the bench, or do they take the next step into the main event? Then there's a Finn Balor and JD McDonough versus War Raiders match where Roxanne comes down to ringside to help Judgment Day pick up the win.
In a minute, Roxanne Perez out on the apron, distracting Ivar. JD McDonough takes advantage, face with a coup de grace.
I just don't believe it. Another pin for Finn? Bringing his grand tally to like 3 wins this year. We're so back. Then there's a Becky Lynch promo where she says Lyra cost her Money in the Bank, but yet she's the one that is always blamed for taking all the opportunities.
She has forgotten everything that I have done for her. That every moment in her career with glimpses of greatness has been because of me.
Becky continues by saying this.
She will have to hold up my hand. The same hand that is going to hold her down.
I'd also like to point out here that they once again talked about the stat where no woman has ever failed the cash-in. I'm really scared that they're gonna have Rhea win, fail the cash-in on the same night, and waste the briefcase again. And I love Rhea Ripley like most people, but Money in the Bank is for the people that need it. Rhea doesn't need it.
I feel great. Thank you so much.
I see you sat there.
I'm gonna fight all these urges, my brother.
You made it all the way to the top by being a good person that didn't give up, and then you only stayed on top because you gave up being a good person.
Lyra continues by saying this.
By trying to hold me down, all you did was unlock the side of me that is capable of destroying you.
Lyra continues in saying she's going to make sure that Becky cannot poison the Intercontinental Championship. Becky responds in saying, I think you wanted an excuse to hate me so you could replace me, but nobody can.
Now I know the thing that's going to hurt you the most is when you're gonna have to raise my hand.
Then we get the classic trope of babyface who wants to fight and the heel that says, I'm not fighting in insert city here.
Intercontinental champion, the women's champion now, taking it to Becky Lynch.
I think there's a pretty strong chance that Becky wins the IC title in that match. Next, we saw a promo from Penta ahead of Money in the Bank.
¿Y saben por qué? Porque yo soy Penta, el cero.
Then Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed took on Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, in which I have to point out this sell from Breaker.
Per hour speed, runs into a big kick from Uso.
That man man sold that super kick like he was a GTA character ragdolling. But then out comes Seth Rollins to curb stomp Jey Uso into the ground, causing the disqualification.
Jey Uso suicide dive, everybody's down. And look who's here.
Yeah, it does feel inevitable, doesn't it?
And Punk, CM Punk is here. Punk saves the day.
Then Seth Rollins says this to Breakker during the standoff.
We got him right where we want him. Trust me.
Meanwhile, in the Judgment Day clubhouse, Finn reassures Liv that everything is fine with Roxanne being involved in their business. But Liv Morgan, she's not buying it.
I don't trust Dom.
It's not Dominic who I don't trust.
Then Dom tries to apologize to Finn, but Finn says we're good.
Not gonna have any of that tonight. I'm out here for my friend Kairi Sane as he's taking the fight to Morgan.
Next up, Io Sky would come down to ringside to brawl with Liv Morgan as Kairi Sane picked up the win over Raquel Rodriguez.
From Kairi! What a win by Sane!
Also, it would appear that in amongst that brawl, Liv suffered a nasty gash on her forehead. Then we see Karrion Kross once again interacting with Sami Zayn backstage. Karrion also got a big pop once again, which I'm sure will fall on deaf ears.
I know you're capable of doing very terrible things to people. Sammy, you're not a good guy. You're a bad guy. Just like the rest of us.
I still cannot believe he isn't in Money in the Bank. Legitimately a howler from you, Triple H.
You're wrong. I might be wrong. But I might be right, too.
Next, we see a sit-down confrontation between Gunther and Jey Uso in the locker room.
You're making it very, very easy for me. Jay, in 1 week, the party is over.
Then Jay responds by saying this.
3 letters, 1 word, tap. See you next week, G.
Finally, we have our main event, CM Punk versus AJ Styles versus El Grande Americano in a very solid match.
Rolls through Americano, caught by Styles. Styles now in position. Styles clash.
It was really fun to see Punk and Styles interacting for the first time in a WWE ring.
Threat match, AJ Styles. That's vintage Styles there. And now CM Punk dunks underneath into a neckbreaker.
But just as Punk hits a GTS on Americano, here comes Braun Squared to take him out, leading to a brawl at ringside.
Go to sleep, connects. Oh, and shades of last week with Sami Zayn tonight.
But just as AJ Styles gets back in the ring for a phenomenal forearm, he meets the head of Americano.
Styles will give him a phenomenal forearm and a headbutt by El Grande Americano. Styles.
We might be witnessing a timeline where Chad Gable beats Vikingo at Worlds Collide and El Grande Americano is Mr. Money in the Bank. And Lord, I hope that is the timeline we are living in.
Stomp the Zayn. And a stomp to Punk. Tsunami! Tsunami!